this, obviously, you guys are the ones that will be the most affected by whatever we end up with here. And I think it's good that we have both of you because you're different size companies and you deal with different challenges, different business models, that kind of thing. Maybe I could first ask you guys to tell us a little bit about where you're coming from in terms of what you do, and what are some of the challenges when you're looking at emissions. Let's start with Juni. Tell us a bit about Juni, some of the challenges.
Thank you for the invitation, and we are very happy to talk about the real life we experience every day in terms of truck and emissions and fuel consumption. Jeunis is a French-based global player. We are a subsidiary of SNCF, the French railway company, and we are operating today in 65 countries throughout the world. We are making 8 billion revenue each year with 40,000 employees throughout the world. We are in different businesses, the air and sea freight and customs brokerage, where we subcontract all the transportation. We do contract logistics, mainly warehousing operations that we operate or coordinate transport front and down the flows. And then we are operating also distribution and express, mainly in France, and also food truckload business throughout Europe, mainly based in France, but throughout Europe. The fleet we own today is less than 10,000 vehicles. Because we subcontract in transport, we subcontract a high share of the operations we make. So we are concerned, of course, by fuel consumption, emission standards, and perhaps later on I will explain how we have done so far with those standards.
Okay. Andreas, tell us a little bit about your business.
My name is Andreas. I represent a company by Kodiak from Germany. We are a bit smaller than the French one. Yeah? We have 38 trucks and we're driving around north of Germany and a bit around Europe, and we're loading something for the food industry, most of the time water, so it means fully loaded on the truck, and we loaded machine industry. And the rest is a little bit what the market gives. The company has 92 workers. And from the 92 workers around 50 are some drivers. And what we've done in the last 6-7 years, we started a project. And with the project, the simple name, in 2020, we want to reduce the fuel consumption from the whole fleet to 20 liters. And in the year 2008, we start with 35 liters. And we're coming down every year, 1 liter, step by step. And what we use to get this result is we buy all the standard things from the market, what is ready developed. Nothing special, and we find a good way and bring the whole little company together. It means we involve the driver, the office, the back office, and put a lot of new technology inside.
Great. So, this voting in the morning to trucks, and the big question with whether the set standards for trucks is, will the overall target be enough to motivate member states to put in measures that will incentivize companies to develop some of the solutions, the technological solutions that are already there, as we can see outside at the entrance to today's event. Let me ask each of you, what is your impression about whether these EU-level standards are needed? Is there enough incentive now in the market or member state level without those standards in place? So, what would you say?
I would probably compare with what happened in terms of emissions in the Euro standards. We are, even if we are a big company, we are at the end of the food chain. So we can charge to our clients only what they are ready to pay. and this is definitely the point, because if we start to move to new energies such as natural gas or electricity, today the total cost of ownership of those vehicles is higher than diesel. So we can move forward with clients when they are ready to pay the premium needed for this. So this is the client side. On the other side, you have the regulation. And if we look at the way behind us in terms of Euro standards, we are today inside Judis, we have 85% of our fleet complying to Euro 5 and Euro 6 standards. So it's definitely the way we improved the fleet was due to the regulation. Because there is no discussion then in the market if you have to pay more for new vehicles or vehicles that comply to higher standards, then all the market will be on the same level, and the clients will be ready to pay what they have to pay for.
Andreas, has this been your experience as well?
Yeah, I can say it's absolutely 100% clear what you say, but there's maybe one little thing more. If we pay, for example, more for the trucks, for new technology, it's right if our customers pay us a little bit more and the whole market have to use it, then it's a typical way to develop something, yeah, and to bring it in the market. But what we ask ourselves is every time if we make new standards in Europe, yeah, for example, where we are in Europe at the moment, this question nobody answers us. Yeah? Same with the fuel consumption. If we see the price for diesel at the moment it was a little bit down. Yeah? In the last 5-6 years it was much more up, and maybe in the next 3 years, 4 years it will go much more up. And so in the end we have the total cost of ownership, and if we invest more for new trucks, and later we pay less for the energy we use. It doesn't matter in the end it's electricity or it's diesel or it's natural gas or whatever, then we come in a balance, and if the clients pay the things what we need for life, yeah, then everything will be okay. But the main question is where we are in the EU at the moment. If we talk about fuel consumption, we have to think about how many tons we loaded and what kind of area we drive in. Yeah, and all over Europe it's not the same. And if we get a standard for the whole EU, maybe we need a little bit more a standard and some maybe a little bit under the standard for the different areas.
In terms of cost, I mean, when we think about the technological solutions that are available, what would you say is the biggest block? We talked a little bit about market factors and some of the legislation and the Euro standards. What holds you back the most as companies from investing in technology that you would otherwise like to invest in?
If we look at the technology that are coming in the market at the moment, and one is natural gas. There is certainly something blocking in terms of distribution network for liquid natural gas, and the European Commission is sponsoring at the moment the development of this network. So it's a chicken and egg situation where everyone is waiting to make sure that it's the right moment to invest in new vehicles. And I won't speak for the car or trucks manufacturer, but obviously they have put a lot of efforts in research and development to develop the new vehicles, the new Euro 6 vehicles, and they are just a bit short of cash to invest now in the development of new vehicles in natural gas. The current vehicles we find in the market are 30,000 horsepower, 300 horsepower, where we need probably above 400 horsepower. So we need now to wait for new vehicles coming from the trucks manufacturer, the distribution network for liquid gas, and then we can move forward. So we are in the blur probably for a couple of years before the natural gas can develop in the proper way to replace diesel.
And how far away do you think that is in a couple of years?
Yes, really, if I look at the French market, there is strong desire from the players in the market, distribution, the retailers, for instance, push very hard to develop that. They have built some distribution stations in their own premises and try to push us as the transport operators to equip ourselves with the trucks. So in terms of CO2 emission, natural gas, except if you go for biogas, it's not really a bargain in terms of CO2 emissions, but in particles, it's a better way to move forward. So it's natural gas is obviously a solution for urban distribution in between diesel and electricity.
Andreas, what would you say is the biggest thing holding you back from potential decisions?
I think if we think about technologies, we also have to understand what we all have already developed on the market. Today we come with our truck outside, maybe some of the audience saw the truck already, or in the break we can look. This is a truck, we only use the things they already developed. And if you talk about the machines, we don't talk about the trailer. I think there is a lot of efficiency in the trailer, and at the moment all over the market they don't use this one. If you see the standard trailers in Europe, all the big companies, at the moment we use a little company from Austria. They developed the trailer, I think it's more than 20 years on the market, with totally less weight. And if you look at the fuel efficiency, in the end we have the physics standards. If you have lower net weight, directly you save petrol, and it's extremely what we find out. And also in the next 5 to 10 years, what we can do is we have to use more all these aerodynamic tools, And what we see on our trailer outside, we put some aerodynamic inside, and it's working. The same with the tires, There are so many modern tires on the market, and the price level of the tires is not so high. You have to buy a tire, it's the same you have to buy a truck, what you explained, If this industry use so many machines, and it's coming and using, and it's never stop. We can do what we want, we never can save a truck for 20 years. So it means we have to buy new trucks every 4, 5, 10 years. It depends a little bit on the rules are. The same with the Euro class, if they come in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we buy extremely fast new trucks. And every time you have to buy new trucks, there's new technology automatic inside. And the industry is not stopped.
I want to give the audience a chance to ask you guys some questions as the usual. First, I'm going to give you a chance to ask a question to Pierre, who's in the audience. We're not necessarily to him. But if you have the commission here and we are looking at a time period when these things are being developed, for you as the users, what is the biggest message you would like to impart to the commission?
There is a message, perhaps it's between the lines of what we have said both, is we would like to make sure that there will be no discrepancy in terms of competition between the states inside Europe if we go to fuel efficiency standards. Because today there is a huge discrepancy in labor costs throughout Europe, and it caused massive, dramatic reduction of the number of players and the size of the players, especially in France, I think. So we are ready for standards, new standards. We comply to the improvement of the Euro standards. So it's okay with us as long as it is very consistent throughout Europe.
So in other words, national solutions are going to make it already fragmented market a bit more fragmented.
Yes, we would like to go for global standards, global solutions, not national standards.
Andreas, what about you?
I think my main idea is every time, if we think about new standards, we have so many standards on one side, sure, we need also some new standards. And if we think about the standards we have, for example, the speed limit. if we see especially in Germany, I think it's represent all over Europe. Yeah, we have the same speed limit, 80, and if I see the trucks on the road in Germany, they're driving 90, 95, whatever, and we in the little company make a test. If we reduce the speed limit to the rules, to 80, directly we save around 5 to 8% petrol. And if I see so many drivers from east of Europe, they across Germany like the flying airplane. Yeah? And before we start to think in new standards, maybe we have to find a way to control and to rule the standards we have already. And if we think about the new standards, we need to have these questions, yeah? Where we are at the moment in the EU. We are on this level or we are on that level already. Can we really measure and calculate it where we are? This is one of my main questions, yeah? And if we can do, then we can talk about the new standards. Before we talk about new standards, we need the answers where we are. Because if we have a wrong answer from where we're coming from, and then we make the standard too high, and then maybe we lost another 10 years to bring the carbon footprint really down.
Let's check and see, are there any questions from the audience for our two panelists here? These are the people really doing day in and day out these issues. Yes, we're playing in the back. Right back.
Can I ask, from your experience, is the fuel efficiency of trucks, has it improved over the last 10 years? Has it remained flat? What's your experience from the operations you've been given?
We have reached a plateau, and it's now very difficult to go below where we are. We have invested a lot during the last 10 years in training the drivers. We have experienced drivers that are trainers to the others. We have a close monitoring of the actual consumption of each driver because we have on board computer. We have everything we want to know about the way they drive and the actual consumption, so we can focus our efforts in terms of training on the bad drivers. We have to monitor the tire pressure because it's very important in terms of consumption. And the challenge now is to make sure that temporary workers that we may use are trained the right way to make sure that they will not increase the average consumption. But now we feel that it's very hard to go below the plateau we have reached.
I think on one side 100% right, yeah, but I think if you look only the engine of the truck, and I find some graphic in the internet from the Euro transport, and it looks, if you go 50 years back to the year 966, and in the year 966 to 7286, it's going, the petrol, the fuel consumption going down every year 1 liter. And on the time when the Euro class coming, 1 to Euro 6, and if you look then only the engine, not the whole truck, it looks like it's like a standard. Yeah, it stays on the same level, it's not going down. What is really improved in the last 20 years is everything around the engine. Yeah, with the telematic system, with the tire pressure system, with the aerodynamic and whatever. But the real engine is, I think, in the last 20 years is not really improved.
Yes.
Do you have another question from the audience? Yes, there's one up here in the front.
Thank you. Ian Cutler from the Romans office in Brussels. As a city, we certainly support a high level of ambition in reducing carbon emissions. But the current public health crisis we have in London is one of air quality. So the question both for the users and for the Commission really is that are you looking at reducing air quality in step with reducing emissions, and can we be sure that the strategy on decarbonisation will also have a positive impact on air quality?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question because, of course, fuel economy has benefits for the users and for the environment. air pollution is a slightly different issue. Are you also looking at air pollution?
Yes, I mentioned that using natural gas in urban distribution in cities will have positive impacts on carbon emissions and as well as NOx emissions. So it's a good compromise, short-term compromise for heavy-duty vehicles compared to electricity, where we don't have today sustainable solutions for electric trucks for heavy duty. So we have invested in a fleet of 100